Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250. And for those of you who are still watching us via Facebook.com, may I suggest that you subscribe to Cignal TV para hindi lang po si Cito ang nakakasabay ninyo sa umaga, so that you also have viewing options, particularly if you are into all these crime and suspense programs, K-dramas, etc. Because Cignal TV offers all of that plus the latest in sports. Now, we also want to encourage people, lalo na yung mga who need to go online. May I just suggest to all of you that you consider subscribing to PLDT fiber optic home internet, kasi alam nyo po, there's so many people who want to go digital, who are online, but they're not investing. If you watched our program with RD Lopez last week, he pointed out that that is one of the essential things to consider. If you want to be successful, to maintain a presence online, you need to invest not just on equipment, but most especially on your internet service, and PLDT does it for you. Okay, hindi po ako endorser ng PLDT, but I'm a person who believes in expressing gratitude, in promoting what has been successful for us. And for us, PLDT has been very, very consistent. Now, it's September 17, 2021. It's a Friday. So let's thank God that hindi po katulad nun at TGIF, thank God it's Friday, I can get drunk. Or thank God it's Friday, I can go shopping. I was just discussing this with friends yesterday during our how do you call it, leadership group. Dati tawag doon Bible study. Pero ngayon hindi na puro lang just Bible, but reality, life reality. We were sharing with each other how COVID-19 has made us realize what is essential, what matters, and given us the opportunity to do everything we wanted to do but couldn't, because we had to work, because we had to drive and waste 4 hours in traffic, we had to go stay in the office, etc., etc. Well, now you have time for your family, you have time to fix your home, you have time to read a book. I have time to study, but I can't tell you what I'm enrolled in. Baka hindi kayo maniwala. But anyway, you have time, so please enjoy it. And before I go into the serious part of the program, I just actually 2 minutes ago received a text message from a very, very dear friend named Arnel, who said, please pray for us because we are under quarantine, etc., etc., the family. Last week, my sister, who, as many of you know, my sister Marisa, who is on the under treatment for breast cancer, told us that that they had a COVID scare because someone in the family was COVID positive. And sunod-sunod na po ito. The week before that, a very good friend, Millet, also texted and said, please pray for us because of this, and it's all COVID. So COVID is now coming into the homes of people who once upon a time seemed far from it all. It's all happening around us, but here's the big difference, okay? Ito po yung kakaibahan. Because they are all vaccinated, they now have a fighting chance. Pati na yung mga senior citizens, even the elderly, those older than me. I'm senior, but I don't want to consider myself elderly, okay? Even the elderly now have a chance at surviving COVID and not ending up in the ICU. So pakiusap, I'm appealing to all of you out there, even if you have to find a way, gawan nyo ng paraan, makiusap, whatever, find a way for you to get vaccinated, because it takes only one person to infect 5, 6, 7, 8. Yan, hindi po exercise yan. 5, 6, 7, 8 person if you have the Delta variant. So anyway, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star and let's find out what's on the front page. Okay, there we go. Government unfazed won't cooperate in ICC probe. Malacanang will not cooperate with the International Criminal Court or ICC's investigation into President Duterte's war on drugs as it expressed confidence the case will just drag on and wither. Sa madaling salita, naniniwala ang Malacanang na hahaba at hahaba lang at tatagal lang itong kumakakalagkad sa haba ng panahon at mamamatay na lang o mababaliwala. Okay, that's an indirect translation. At the top of the front page, BIR to probe 250 social media influencers. Okay. Yan po, no? We've mentioned that. We've talked about it. Those of you who are fond of posting, vlogging, promoting, and making money through social media, kayo po ay iniimbestigahan na. The BIR, Bureau of Internal Revenue, has listed down the first 250 social media influencers they will be investigating, and they have appealed to the rest of the social media influencers. Magparehistro din po kayo, parang bakuna. But in this case, have yourselves registered as income-generating influencers and start paying your taxes just like the rest of us in mainstream media. Under that headline, banner on the left ear, you have Rodi to Solicitor General, instruct COA to audit Red Cross. President Duterte has called Solicitor General Jose Joe Impeachment Calida to call on the COA Commission on Audit, okay, Michael Aguinaldo, Chairman, to investigate or audit the Philippine Red Cross. Ngayon, ang tanong, is the Philippine Red Cross directly under the Philippine government or can they audit payments made to the Red Cross? Malalaman po natin which is the accurate part because I myself don't know. On the right ear of the front page of the Philippine Star, we have the Employers Confederation of the Philippines asking the government to give free testing and hospital reimbursements, particularly to frontline health workers. Marami pong hinihingi yung ECOP, and while they agree and support the new system that allows more people to go back to work, the ECOP is saying, 100, 200,000 returning to employment is great, but there are millions who are still unemployed. Okay, related to the headline of the Philippine Star, government unfazed, won't cooperate in ICC probe, you have on the right side of that headline, CHR ready to help ICC. Puro na abbreviation eh. The Commission on Human Rights is ready to help the International Court, okay? The International Court in its investigation, okay? The International Criminal Court in its investigation of the killings, anong tawag nito? Crime against humanity by providing whatever the ICC requires. According to CHR Chairman Cito Gaston, they view the decision as a critical step towards the truth and justice in this country that may help lead to ending impunity should this eventually materialize to charges, trial, and convictions. Okay, ayan na po. No? Yung big picture in the middle of the front page of the Philippine Star, that is a man feeding the pigeons at the park. And that's not in New York, that's in Luneta Park. Okay? Na open na po yan to the public, pero I suppose you still have to observe the health protocols. And below that, you have senators seek records of 1,479 suspected palace trolls. Okay. Kung hindi po ninyo kabisado yan, a troll is defined as a person who intentionally antagonizes others online by posting inflammatory, irrelevant, or offensive comments or other disruptive content. Okay. So, yun po, no? Senate Minority Leader Frank Drilon has demanded, requested, or ordered the PCOO to provide the Senate, Presidential Communications Operations Office, to provide the Senate the employment records and backgrounds of 1,479 suspected trolls. Okay. Drilon demanded the records of the contractual workers, 375 of whom work at the PCOO and flagged recently by the COA to determine if there are state-funded troll farms. So, yun po. So, kumbaga, akala siguro nung iba dyan, basta-basta, just, di ba? Gas-gas, just na lang na makakakuha ng tao, empleo, yan po. Iniimbestiga na rin yung mga yan. Okay. Now, on the lower left, Pateros, the municipality of Pateros will place yellow ribbons on houses with COVID cases. Parang tayo, yellow ribbon. Iba po yung yellow ribbon na yon in the American context. Yung yellow ribbon na yon kasi is parang the return of a hero, of a warrior, or etc. Dito sa Pateros, the yellow ribbon will be a symbol that the people inside the house are COVID positive. So medyo baka may mga umangal dyan sa ginagawa ni Pateros Mayor Miguel Ponce III na sa dinami-dami naman ng kulay, nag-yellow ribbon ka pa. Baka magalit yung mga dilawan dyan na you are insinuating that they are a virus. Okay. And the photo there in the middle, lower middle, food packs are delivered to residents affected by the granular lockdown on H. Santos Street in Barangay Tejeros, Makati. Nako, yung isang araw, Malabon yata. Yung sinabi natin ngayon, meron sa Makati, nag-granular lockdown na po. Below that photo, you will see airlines seek greater mobility for vaccinated. That's according to Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. And the point being that the airlines are suffering so much, and even with improvements in the war against COVID-19, the government continues to tighten restrictions which directly impact the operation, profitability, and continuity of airlines. Meron nga pong sabi dito sa storya na ito na if only the government will liberalize or be more would relax the restrictions, like allowing those fully vaccinated to have shorter quarantine periods, the tourists, every person would save 25,000 pesos at the very least, because at the moment, multiple testing, and then aside from multiple testing, extended quarantine stays, even for people who are fully vaccinated, and when it is possible to test on the third or fifth day. Kumbaga, 3 to 5 days lang masasabi na kung may problema o wala. Pero kung patatagalin mo ng 14 days, makikinabang yung hotel, magugulpi naman, mamamatay naman yung airlines. Okay. And last two news, COMELEC rejects multi-day polls in 2022. Siyempre nga naman. The Commission on Election has rejected a proposal for multiple days of voting in May 22 and instead approved longer voting hours to ensure safety protocols in every polling district. Ayan. Yan po. And then last but not the least, COVID-19 tally of Philippine cases. Ayan po, mataas na naman. 21,261 confirmed cases as of September 16, yesterday. One day lang po yan. Mataas na naman in the death. Okay, ang mga namatay, 277. Kahapon lang po yan. Okay? In one day, 277 were declared dead. The total of dead people, ayan na, breakthrough number na naman, 36,018. So, needless to say, but I will say it again, please, tatlong pamilya na yan that are all close to me, okay, to us, to me and my wife, our family members, have been confronted by COVID positive case in their house. And that led to, in one particular issue, nagkanya-kanyang kwarto sila, wala nang labasan. Okay? And please be conscious of this. Ako ngayon medyo, I thank the good Lord for giving us this time to just be in the farm. Trabaho, walang bakasyon dito, trabaho pa rin. Now, let's go to the quotation of the day. The passage for the day comes from Philippians 4:6, verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything. Huwag kang nag-aalala na papraning sa kahit anong bagay. But in every situation, sa lahat ng bagay at problema, by prayer and petition, sa paraan ng pagdadasal at apila o kaya paghingi ng tulong with thanksgiving na binalot sa pasasalamat. Present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Okay, now, just quickly, because I know we don't have that much time. Okay, but, in all things, okay, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. Now, here's the deal. If you reach the point where you have to ask God, obviously, you can't do anything about it. Whether it's COVID, you are broke, iniwanan ka ng jowa mo, I mean, whatever it is. If it comes to a point where it's now a choice between just staying in the corner and being depressed or going on your knees and just talking to God. Kasi many of you think of prayer as, parusa as punishment. No, prayer is conversation with God. If it has reached that point, clearly, it's all up to God. So, trust God. Okay? I'll leave you with that. Okay? And now, let's move forward to the interviews for the day. Very interesting interviews. Bakit kanyo? The first interview is Department of Foreign Affairs. Thank you, Lord. Nakakuha tayo with DFA because we want to find out and we want to give them as much time to let us know what's going on with the DFA, especially with consular affairs, security. We have with us someone who is the Undersecretary for Civilian Security and Consular Affairs at the Department of Foreign Affairs and concurrent Chief of Staff to the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Bigatin po ito. We have with us Undersecretary and Attorney Brigido Dulay. Usec Dulay, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Cito, and good morning to all people tuned in to your program now.
Okay, thank you. Nakakuha kami ng spot with you because I personally appreciate everything that the DFA does and how responsive you guys are. First up, Yusek Dulay, kasi you're civilian involved in civilian security. Pakisagot na nga, no? Kasi may mga nagtatanong sa akin eh. What is this Japan travel advisory all about na they are afraid of a terrorist strike or threat? Should we be worried?
Well, with respect to that particular issue, Cito, it was an advisory issued by Japan. But it has not been formally transmitted to the DFA, at least. Ano? So our guess is that this was shared with the intelligence network, the intelligence community, and it would be our intelligence community in the Philippines that would probably have a better handle on the context of that advisory.
Okay, well, I just needed to clear it with you on because it struck me as something of a diplomatic level. But in any way, you've cleared that. Now, we never, or at least I've never heard the phrase civilian security ever mentioned in relation to the DFA and with the DFA official. Ano ba yung civilian security? What exactly is your scope of concern as the Undersecretary for Civilian Security?
Well, Cito, there's a lot of components yung civilian security, ano? And basically because we're in foreign affairs, so it refers to the both the local as well as the foreign aspect. So we joined the different boards, ano, mga intelligence boards, anti-terrorist council, terrorism council. So that sort of thing, I don't want to go into details and tell you exactly.
Obviously.
I don't know, we work with. But yeah, we work with the intelligence community locally. And being in the foreign affairs, we are, you would say we are the conduit to also to the foreign government's intelligence communities in a sort of way, in a maybe in the diplomatic circles. So that's the coverage of the civilian security aspect of my job.
Okay, now medyo na mangha ako or I was quite surprised because you're handling civilian security, which based on what you've said is a huge scope, and then you're also chief, hindi ka naman chief of staff, di ba? Chief of staff ka pa ni Secretary Locsin. And then I think you're concurrently handling consular issues. Am I correct?
Yes, Sito, that's also part of my job. The problem that we have in the consular affairs office, that's also under my jurisdiction. And also, Sito, just to let you know, I'm also the chair of the Overseas Voting Secretariat, which is the implementing arm of the COMELEC insofar as overseas Filipinos voting abroad is concerned.
Okay, so now let me get into the main flow of the things I was interested in finding out. First, what is the state of our DFA personnel abroad? Kasi alam mo, Sir Dodo, back in the 80s, when I was still living in the US, I had an experience of meeting people, particularly when Cory made their state visit, meeting people in the Foreign Affairs Service, and back then nakakaawa sila. Parang ang kanilang sweldo 3 months delayed, tapos they would share apartments, they would eat their meals, most of their meals in the consul or some government facility. kasi talagang tipid na tipid sila and baon sa utang. But I do know times have changed, things have improved. But what is the state of foreign affairs personnel abroad?
Sito, I would probably answer that by saying that our people in the posts, in our embassies and consulates are no different from overseas Filipino workers. Pareho lang sila, ano, na
Mhm.
nagtatrabaho sa abroad. They have to work every day. They have to live on limited budgets, and they also have to face the threat of COVID. Same as overseas Filipinos. Meron nga kami na ambassador na already died because of COVID. We have around 4 personnel who died because of COVID. So they're in the same boat as our overseas Filipino workers, except in our case, it's our job to serve them, to help them, to protect their welfare. So
Mhm.
dumagdag, yun lang ang trabaho namin. Ano? Pareho kami ng OFW. But we're also, our task is really to help them, or help Filipinos abroad. So it's a hard thing to balance, you know, because with limited funds, they're not exactly wallowing in wealth abroad, and we have very limited personnel in our embassies and consulates. Ano? The ratio of our personnel in some areas to Filipinos is probably, you would say, around less than 1%. You know? For example, in Saudi Arabia, we have probably around 50 plus personnel, 54, and we service around, on paper, there's an estimated around 4 million Filipinos. So
Wow.
that's the kind of work that they have to do abroad. You know? So it's a challenging task for all of our
For
people.
54 people servicing or being making themselves available to 4 million Filipinos just in Saudi Arabia. Kasi the reason I came, I pursued this the conversation, Sir Dodo, Yusek Dodo, is because my daughter, who's now studying in Holland, when she needed to renew her passport and try to register for the voter's ID, she told me naawa siya. Ito ng batang to, hindi siya yung mga typical na, alam mo na, yung nag-involve sa mga community. But she said, Papa, I felt so bad for the lady on the line because she sounded so tired, and it took them several days to get back on my email. I got the impression that they're overworked and that there's so few of them. And we encourage her to get to know the people in the embassy in The Hague, in the Netherlands. And true enough, as you are pointing out, much as we want an ideal situation, the reality is the Philippines does not have Alibaba's cave, cave of gold, so we cannot splurge on our overseas workers. So, totoo po yung mga kaibigan, talagang hirap. Now, so the embassies still operate in terms of giving all the services, kasi one would think, may COVID, di cut down na lang tayo sa mga services, only essentials. What is the policy right now of our consulates and embassies?
Well, Sito, right now the instruction of the Secretary of Foreign Affairs is that all the offices should be open every day,
Mhm.
regardless of COVID. You know? But of course, we also have to protect our people. And alam mo, ang number one rule, Sito, in embassies and consulates is you follow the local regulations. So if the local
Mhm.
regulations say that may stay-at-home order, for example, or they also, like us, limit interzonal travel, then our embassies and consulates personnel are covered by it. So maraming embassies and consulates ngayon, Sito, are also implementing the appointment system as we do here in Manila.
Mhm.
It's endemic worldwide that almost all foreign missions really control the number of people that go in and walk in through the doors of our embassies and consulates. Kasi nga pandemic, ano? So
Mhm.
we work every day, but we work under that kind of regime where we have to be mindful of the pandemic, the threat of the pandemic, while balancing it to also service the needs of our Filipinos. So Yeah, it's not totally unexpected that a lot of Filipinos probably will have to wait in line.
Mhm.
There's a lot of backlog all over the world in our missions. Also because like Manila, we have to do this following the safety and health protocols. That's
Yeah,
in
which is
place.
sad. That's really sad, Yusek Dulay, because sad in the sense that, before COVID, I was always giving hallelujahs and praise to the DFA kasi pag kami nag-appointment dyan sa Mega Mall, sa Quezon City, we walk in and we're out in less than an hour. I think 45 minutes we would be out and may delivery pa ng passport. But COVID just totally ruined that. Now, speaking
I,
of passports, what happens if, kasi I know sometimes the backlog can go as much as 4 to 6 months. And yung ating mga passports, expires within 6 months of its expiry date.
yes.
Can you explain that to me? Sorry,
Yeah.
kasi parang
Well,
yung
it's a good
logic.
Ganda,
Yung,
maganda yung point mo, Sito eh. But let me just tell you a simple story. No?
oh,
Pre-pandemic, pre-COVID, the turnaround time for an appointment was 3 days. 3 araw lang. Meron ka
mm,
sigurado appointment. Okay. And why was that? Because we could service, let's say for example, in one consular office, we could service 1,000 people a day. So,
mhm,
kaya. We have a turnaround time that's very quick. What happened when COVID came? When COVID came, we were first under ECQ. So that meant we had stay-at-home orders. So we could not operate. Sarado. Okay. When we did open, the IATF came up with rules that required us to limit the number of people inside our offices as well as to observe physical distancing. So right off the bat, that cut down our capacity to service the number of Filipinos that we were usually servicing. From 1,000 a day, for example, we were forced to cut it down to 350. At most, we were able to do 500. And the difference now is the backlog. And I'm not afraid to say that we have a huge backlog now. It's around
mhm.
4 million estimated as of today, 4 million applicants who are supposed to come to us and get passports. And historically, Sito, in 2019, we serviced 4.8 million Filipinos for passports. When the pandemic hit, we were only able to service 1.7 million. And now, we are already in the third quarter, the end of the third quarter, and we are now at 1.7. Mas mataas ngayon, 1.7. But you can see that the difference is the backlog. Ano? It's piling up. And unfortunately, there's really not much that we can do about it because we are limited by the rules on social distancing and venue capacity. And of course, the community classification where our consular offices are. Because yung ibang probinsya, magla-lockdown, o so may order ang governor or mayor o sarado ang city, lockdown tayo. Sarado din yung consular office namin. Now,
Hmm.
those who made an appointment on that day becomes part of the backlog daw. Ano? Dumadagdag, nagpa-pile up. So that's
Yes.
the challenge that we have. But Sito, we also tried to alleviate this, to ease the backlog by putting up yung tinatawag namin na temporary off-site passporting services sites. Ito
Yung
yung
sa
mga
mga
parang
mall.
pop-up na
Ah,
consular office, ano?
at saka yung
In
mobile, yung mga mobile consular office yung pumupunta sa mga
Yes.
villages.
Oh, kaya lang ang problema din namin is limited din eh. Yung kayang i-service dito eh. It's not as that many. That's why we ask for more money from Congress, ano? To allow
Mhm.
us to put up more pop-up sites. Remember Sito, I'll explain in government, ano? In government, you're given a fixed amount of money. And this
Yes.
fixed amount of money is allocated, let's say in our case, is allocated to 34 consular offices nationwide. That's the only one we can service, and there's money for that. To put more, of course, we need more money. Ano? We need the budget from Congress. We need to hire people, expenses for maintaining new offices. And unless we get that kind of money, it's hard for us to add more consular offices because our budget is just really meant for 34. That's one of the problems. But we tried with our limited budget. Nagsabi si Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin, sabi niya, you do something about it and try your best to ease the backlog. So we had this TOPS nga, yung temporary off-site passport services sites. So we were able to put up 6 already around Metro Manila, and that's helping ease the backlog. But at 4 million and counting, Tito, we have to admit, it's really, really hard for us
So
to catch up.
in Tagalog, in the Tagalog reality or in the Filipino reality, the government is still following the principle of I have so many children, I have to distribute the food or the money among my children. Yeah, kasi one would think that the DFA is an essential in these modern times. Many Filipinos earn their living abroad. Many Filipinos, and from the looks of it, the next generation of Filipinos will be global citizens, and they need their consular offices, they need their passports, they need their foreign affairs personnel. And parang nag-aasa tayo kung anong binibigay. So I'm going to help you in that battle, Usec Dulay, kasi we cannot treat foreign affairs just as a one of the many concerns. It has to be a primary concern because we are now forced to redefine our priorities and our directions in the new generation. But matanong ko lang, paano na yung mga nag-expire while trying to renew? At saka, bakit ba 6 months before expiry, deemed unserviceable na yung passport?
Ano yung nag-expire Sito, because it's a pandemic, wala namang penalty yung mag-expire. You're not penalized for having an expired passport. The only thing is that you can travel, okay? Yun namang issue of the 6 months, really, it is an international rule kasi that, some countries will not accept visitors with a passport with an expiry of less than 6 months. But that's the rule globally, even in the Philippines. Pag turista ka, papasok ka rito at yung passport mo valid less than 6 months, pwede ka hindi papasukin ng immigration. So that's the reason why there is the 6-month rule. It's not really meant for the passport's expiry. It's valid until the last day. But the point is that if you're entering a country and you have a passport that's expiring within 6 months or less, then it's the right of that country to disallow you to enter. Especially, for example, in America, if you're going automatic, pag meron ka naman tourist visa, it's an automatic 6-month stay. So pag less than 6 months, then you're leaving with an expired passport. So yun yung mga rason, it does not impact on the validity or genuineness of the passport. It's really more of a border control measure by the different countries.
There are no penalties if mag-expire. And what if, for instance, something urgent happens and your passport has not been renewed, it's within that 6-month validity clause, what happens? Anong magagawa ng isang Pilipino?
Well, meron naman tinatawag na courtesy lane portal yung aming consular office. All they need to do is email oka.cl@dfa.gov.ph, and they have to show the urgency of their need for a passport. Once meron naman substantiation, Sito, they will be given a slot. Hahanapan namin pag urgent. Marami na kami natulungan sa ganyan, Yung mga
isa na po ako dyan. I am one of those many years ago where I had to run to the DFA because I had been appointed as judge in an event in Singapore. And lang ako ng biglang sabi ng beloved wife ko, did you bother to check your passport before you said yes? No, I have a passport. Yeah, your passport may be invalid already. So I had to run to that. Takbo ako kay paring Oka, Office of Consular Affairs. Okay.
Ang problema lang namin ito is because of the number of limited slots. Then talagang masikip kuminsan, hindi namin ma-servicean kagad. Because, our challenge sa pandemic is that there's a fixed number of
Yeah.
people we can service every hour inside their office. If we want to maintain the venue capacity, and yun ang problema. We try to find a spot for them. Sa totoo lang, Sito, a lot of our offices are already violating the minimum public health standards because we
Yeah.
want to service as many as we can. Yes, 2 days ago,
Quick.
we were being bashed in social media, in Twitter, showing, oh, ang haba ng pila sa labas ng aming consular office in Asiana. And it turned out that was the day that we wanted to release passports as well as to add on more passport applicants. So, it's really our goal and motive really to service as many as Filipinos as we can. Ang
Okay.
problema,
Uh,
pag ginawa naman namin yun,
al- alam,
nadadali naman kami. So,
alam mo, Yusek Dulay, ako ay communication sa teacher. Simple lang naman yan eh. Waka care. Basta do your job, do your duty, and all within the bounds of the law. But anyway, moving on, medyo may mga gusto lang kaming itanong dito quickly, Yusek Dulay. Kasi 3 weeks ago, it was announced that Afghan refugees have been welcomed to the Philippines. How many refugees do we have currently in the Philippines? What are the terms and conditions of their presence or stay in the Philippines? And is this in any way related to dun sa mga sinasabing travel alerts ng Japan?
um, with respect to the travel alert, we don't think it is any relation to the issue of the Afghan refugees.
Okay.
I don't have the exact number of Afghan refugees that we are helping out. But as a policy, and the President Duterte has already said that, we will accept all refugees and asylum seekers with open arms. Because we've always been known, Sito, as a country that has really helped, citizens of the world when they're in trouble. So that's a policy that we have continued today. It's a compassionate policy. And it's a policy that's ongoing. So as to the exact number, that really now devolves upon the DOJ because the DOJ is the lead agency to process all of these refugees. And it's an ongoing process now. Nagsalita naman si Secretary Locsin, sabi niya, we welcome them, we welcome a few of them, and that's it. Let them go through the process, and we will help them as they come.
Okay. Maybe we can discuss that in a future interview regarding relocation arrangements for these refugees because we too are technically in a economic term also refugees abroad. Anyway, quick question lang and quick answer if you don't mind. How about yung mga restrictions for inbound Filipinos and outbound kasi may mga marami nagtatanong bakit ba raw napaka-komplikado, but I think the DFA has tried to ease up on those restrictions.
Well, Sito, just to put all of this in context, it is not DFA that sets the restrictions. It is the IATF.
Yeah.
So the IATF set an arrival quota because of the discussion that a lot of the variants of concern were being brought in by the incoming Filipinos. So the suggestion of the World Health Organization is to make sure that we have a strict border control protocol. And that's the reason why we have all of this. Alam mo, IATF rule to, Sito, hindi to DFA, no?
Yeah.
We are part of it because we repatriate Filipinos. And if we do that, we always work with the BOQ, with the Coast Guard, to make sure that when they come in here, it's seamless, ma-process sila lahat. But the arrival quota and the protocols are not set by DFA. It's
Okay,
really an
but
IATF.
I guess the question should be, are we in any way, form, or manner preventing Filipinos from returning to the Philippines, especially if they are in a red country?
Well, right now there is only the limitation that if you are a Filipino and you are in a red list country and you are not an overseas Filipino worker, then it will be difficult for you to come home. And that was the problem we had with UAE when they were in the red list. Ano? And that's because, again, we were trying to limit the number of Filipinos coming in from the red list countries, which are the countries which the IATF tagged as high risk. So the bottom line answer is no, you are not prevented, but you will have a difficult time just moseying your way back into the Philippines. That's the long and short of it. You can
Okay.
go, but you have to join a repatriation flight, a bayanihan flight, that sort of thing, Sito.
Okay, well, Yusek, thank you very much for your time, but it's not enough. I think we really have to shift to 1 hour interviews for guys like you with so much information and things we need to know. But we will try to do that. But meantime, thank you very much, and please give our compliments to your associates in the DFA for doing the best job possible in the worst possible conditions.
Thank you so much, Sito. Thank you to all of your listeners and viewers, and thank you for having me on your program. And good morning to everyone. Stay safe, ha?
Okay.
Magpabakuna na tayo. Safe tayo. Thank you, Sito.
Thank you very much. That's Undersecretary Brigido Dulay of the Department of Foreign Affairs. And now we move to our next interview. Now, this is for the people who love arts, who love local fashion, accessory. Hindi po ako naging fashionista. But we want to support Filipinos who create products, who do things that promote the Filipino culture, Filipino talent and resources. The Fashion Accessory Makers of the Philippines, or FAMPI, is a non-profit organization that brings together producers and makers of Philippine-made bags, shoes, jewelry, hats, and accessories, moving forward towards the new world order. And with us is Maco Custodio, incorporator and head of creative community FAMPI. Okay, Mako, good morning to you. Mako, you're on mute, I think, if I'm not mistaken, my friend. Okay, let's okay, will Mako, are you there? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir Beltran. Yeah.
Okay, Sito lang, Mako. Mako, you're the incorporator and head of creative committee FAMPH. Now, I just saw this in on the Facebook, and I was wondering how on earth you guys managed to survive and remain active in spite of a COVID pandemic.
Buddy, the FAMPH was actually it's founded May 2020 last year. So it's actually our response to be in social and economic aftermath ng COVID-19. So it's our move that all of us in the fashion industry that we are also affected with the pandemic. It's not that parang hindi naman porque natutulog lang kami na meron kaming mga basic needs, diba? Hindi din kami magiging apektado. So affected din kami, especially with all the communities that we are actually helping in creating all these beautiful products na talagang pag nakita mo, you will be proud that it's actually made in the Philippines.
Okay, now you are known for upcycling snack wrap papers and turning them into beautiful bags. You transform what otherwise would be treated as trash. I mean, there's one thing. Being a recycling buff is one thing, but being a person who creates fashion, etc., medyo that's a different level. Now, where are you guys? Because ang heading ninyo is fashion.
Well, with me naman, that's what I created for my brand. I started doing the recycling 2016 when we had a chance to do a show in London. So I think yun yung nagmulat sa mata ko na why not use some of our mga uh, mga products na nagdi-destroy to create something that can be change the mindset of people, not just the Filipinos, na these are the things na po pwede din siyang mapakinabangan, diba? So some of the items na I'm creating also is meron akong hashtag. So if you can check hashtag Lalapatas, it's created by one of the hubs in Marikina, Zapateria, and it's also a community based, meaning we try to, as much as possible, we try to incorporate people in the labor force. So medyo labor intensive din yung ibang products, and that's how we want to be known also na yung product is not just a product itself, but it has a soul. It has maraming kamayong dumaan. With the shoes na nagawa ko, we wanted to incorporate at least 3 communities. So the materials are actually sourced in Manila by the Kabalikat. And then after that, we tap, we call them Lala Mamas. We tap a community in Rizal that weaves the shoes, and then create the shoes in Marikina.
Yeah, Mako, it's one thing to create a new product from dedicated fresh material. But when you gather trash, so to speak, and you have to sterilize or clean it, and then you have to process it, and then you have to craft it and produce it, doesn't it make it more expensive?
Well, I would say na yes, medyo labor intensive siya, sir. But I guess in my head, we just have to do it. We just have to, probably start something na nakikita ng tao, and then once that, it's proven it works, so people will actually have to replicate the idea. So right now it's still labor intensive, and we have naman some of people that supports our brand. So, and I am actually just one of the 35 members of the FAMPH that really strives and push for local crafts, local manufacturing para at least mas umangat din yung ating community and the fashion industry.
Okay, now I understand all of that, and I just want to remind people, kung kayo po, yung iba sa inyo, someone you know can buy a Birkin bag or Louis Vuitton, etc., or all of these expensive things, it's no different from what Maco and the FAMPH people are doing, because it's really more purpose driven. It is environmentally friendly, it is labor generating, and it is highly demanding in terms of creativity. Now, Mako, how do people get to your products, especially now COVID, and then everybody's online? Nako, ako, alam mo na I just look for one product, naduduling ako sa sobrang dami ng mga posts eh.
So, actually, medyo problema din namin yun, Sir Cito. Nangyari sa amin is people are not going out and people are actually stuck at home. Hindi sila pwedeng, ayaw nilang bumili ng bagong sapatos, bagong damit. But then later on, we found out na during the last quarter of last year, medyo yung mga tao, since hindi sila makatravel abroad, medyo nangangati sila mag-shop online. So, online really right now, yun yung in-empower namin with also our members na you have to be online.
Okay, Mako,
Yeah,
just sorry to interrupt, just a very quick break kasi mapapagalitan ako if I don't go for a quick break, but I'll get back to you right away. We'll just go for a quick break right here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. And at this point, we are speaking with Maco Custodio. He's representing the fashion accessories makers of the Philippines. Maco, what is this program or weekly online competition that you guys are hosting with the National Commission for Culture and the Arts?
So, thank you. This is actually, we would like to thank NCA for actually supporting our group. So, ang ginawa namin is like for, people, for the community, when most of the Filipinos to be really active in posting their love in their cultural outfit and attire. So we come up with where you're Filipino, kung ano ba talaga, paano mo isa-style yung sarili mo on just, wearing our Filipino kasuotan. So, yun, nag-promote kami na para makita namin kung paano i-dress up ng mga community, ng mga tao, yung mga barong nila on a contemporary. Like kung ngayon, paano ka magsusuot ng barong. And yung mananalo niyan will actually get a prize ng courtesy of PAMPH members.
Ayun. So, speaking of barongs, my wife and I did that. Meron ako nabiling chipipay na sari fabric nung nagpunta ako ng India, ginawa niyang barong. Tapos meron kami nakita dun sa may Taytay ba yun, na fabric na yung skull and crossbones, yung parang symbol ng mga pirates. Pinagawa ko rin barong. Kanya lang, hindi ko pwede suot yung barong na yun during lamay kasi baka ako malibing. Okay, anyway, Mako, so you guys are hosting this competition for people to showcase their work, their products, etc. Now, ang tanong, what are the average prices? Like for your products, for instance, you make shoes. Magkano ba lumalabas yung mga sapatos na ginagawa mo?
So our shoes cost like around 5,000 and up. So it really depends on kung ano yung material, ano din yung design niya. So,
Okay.
but most of, yes. Sir.
Pero yung mga sapatos na yan, because they're of recycled materials, would it be correct to expect them to last more than 1 year? Kasi may mga sapatos na we call them disposable, di ba? And by the way, your prices are very reasonable because that's the usual price in many of the malls for a shoe.
Correct. So with the shoes naman, that's called Lala Patos. That's the hashtag. If you can check on our social media. So I've been, using the first ever sampled meat for Lala Patos, and normally it siguro mga 3 years. Our projection probably lasts more than 5 years. So because the foil itself it's gonna last for 10 years. So yung bag pa lang na gamit ko, so kaya namin siyang tinitest is normally daw si Zestos naglalas ng si foil naglalas ng 10 years and up.
Okay, well, siguro, suggestion ko na lang sa iyo, Mako, and to your friends, huwag niyo kalimutan yung mga tatay katulad ko who are into, or the plantitos, plantitas, the DIYs who need bags and stuff to put their tools in, and I'm sure we will be buying from you. Anyway, Mako, this will be the first of our and only interview. We hope to feature you more. Please let us know when you guys are doing something interesting, and we'll invite you back to the program.
Thank you, Cito. Maraming salamat din sa mga nakikinig sa programa nito. Good morning.
Okay. That's Maco Custodio, and the group is the fashion accessories makers of the Philippines. And for those of you who are curious or considering buying a shoe at the moment, Lalapatos online. Okay? And it's now 9 o'clock. And as always, I am Boundary na. Maraming salamat po for watching us. Thank you for being part of Agenda. Sorry for our texters if I'm not able to read because I just got swamped. Thank you very much. God bless you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be strong.